I'm Francois from Production Music Live today with producer notes, and we had some requests for Rampa and Me More Love remix and also for Adriatique Rufus del Sol Miracles. So I'm going to start with this one here. It's a remake of the style of Rampa and Me, the More Love remix, and it's done fully Ableton in the box, only using Ableton, household elements, stock effects and instruments. And we have a fully arranged track with an intro. Where we are sort of building it up with these kicks, bass and low toms and the bells, and then we're bringing in some shakers over time. And then we're bringing in the pianos. With this Savannah-type whoop sound as well, and then we add in some vocals here. I'm still working on a beta. This is all going into an Afro House kit that we are currently putting together. I'm already recording this video before the pack is finished, but by the time you see it, it will be all done. It will contain MIDIs, samples, presets, and templates as Ableton Project files, and this one is one of them. And it will also contain these vocals here. And then we have this main part here. And so on, and then we are getting into the break. Dreamy, trippy vibes, and then we have this vocal build-up here. And so on, and then we sort of filter it out over time. And then we have our outro part. Yeah, so that's the full track arrangement. I'm putting a full playback of this in the back of the video. And now we take a quick look at the different groups. We have this kick and bass group. We have a drums group here, organized with shakers and hats and stuff. And we have the synths group below that. And then a bunch of effects with white noises, sweeps and ambiances and stuff. And if you're wondering, hey, we have a lot of tracks here, this is a remake. We are trying to sort of nail the sound of the underlying reference track with Ableton only effects. And sometimes we have to sort of use 3 pads to get to something that they did with 1 Juno or something. But you can already achieve the sounds with a lot less elements, and I'll show that in a minute. And this is just for you, so you can see the process behind it. You can always remove stuff and focus on the key elements, and also bounce down stuff that you want in one sample. And then we have this vocals group down here. So these are our groups, and now let's take a look at the key elements of this Afro House type sound. A while back we made some videos on this on PML. Since then, I think it's 3 years ago, and they have completely blown up since then with this sound. You can also watch a video of Keinemusik on telecom beats, electronic beats, something like that. They show what kind of software and hardware they're using. It's super interesting as well. I'm linking to that in the description. I'm also linking to my first Keinemusik Afro House video on PML from 3 years ago, and the other one here for Keinemusik styles also a while back. Since then I've completely taken over. It's crazy. So let's go back and take a look at the key elements. And I'm copying over the kick sound and the bass sound, so we can take a look at that. So we're kind of looking for a kick to sound like the one in the reference track, and this is what we are coming up with. This is our kick sound. Rather short. And then we have this sustained bass below it, which we are doing here with analog, with a saw wave, and we combine it with a sine wave, which is playing much lower. And we're rolling off all this information up here, higher than, what is that, 245 Hertz, sidechain, and again, a bit of EQing in the mixing phase. And then we have this vinyl distortion element here. Let's take a look at with it and without it. And that's really how we are shaping the sound to also have some mid-frequency parts here with overdrive, with erosion, and then correcting through utility. We're putting this project file into the Afro House kit so you can study that, the processing here behind the sounds. Again, we sort of need to reverse engineer the sounds from these underlying reference tracks. And below that, we have toms. By the way, I quickly take a look at the MIDI here. So it's GAB, GAGB. And then we have our toms. Let's solo them. 1 and 2. What is this one doing here? Pretty down low. It's from the Percussive House Pack. I'm also putting a link to that in the description. You can find that one in the Everything bundle as well. This is the Percussive House one here. And we also have an Afro House Pack as well. That's the one from the videos I just showed you before. And so we are using these low toms here in this project file, and I'm just playing them with the kick so we can see the positioning. Yeah, and this is our rhythmical element here. And it's nice, these low toms are really short and snappy, and so they cut through, but they don't sort of occupy too much low end down there. Super cool, combined with the sustained bass note here. And you can see we are cleaning this up a bit. Whenever the tom group is sort of generating a signal, we're taking down through sidechaining here our sustained bass a little. Okay, and we're moving over to the drums group, and let's focus on one of the most important elements here for this style first, and that's a shaker. I'm just going to copy in a shaker from the drums group and that's the one we really need. Okay, so for now I'm just keeping the shaker with these toms, and we're moving over to the next group, and I want to just load in the key elements we should not ignore, and I'm putting in this bell, the super percussive and melodic element. So one of them is doing this. And that's also very typical for the style. You have one percussive element, usually in Keinemusik, Rampa, Atom Port, and Me tracks, and it's mixed louder than other ones. And it's mixed louder than you would mix these kinds of things in other styles. And the percussive element that sort of gets to the foreground also usually has some melodic elements in it. It kind of sort of contributes to the melody of the track. And that's very, very typical for this style. This other one is doing this. kind of a bit scattered to the left and right, and this one is more the main transient here. Again, if you had a certain bell element in your studio that sort of already brings that in, you don't need these layers. We just need these layers because we are using, you know, household elements here. And so this is already a track going here. And now, very typical for the style as well is having a piano. So let's quickly load in the piano, and it's an Ableton device here with a piano recorded. And so we are in B minor. Playing G, A, and B basically, and G, A, and B. We're just going up the ladder here. Let's quickly bring down B to see what we're playing here. That's a major 7th chord. So G major 7th, minor 3rd, major 3rd, minor 3rd, major 3rd, and then this one is voiced up an octave. And then if we bring down C, we have another A major. And this one is voiced up. The 3rd is voiced up again. And then the last one here is, if we quickly take a look, that's a B, minor 3rd, major 3rd. That's a B minor. So very straightforward chord progression here. And we have our piano, we have our bell, we have our shaker, we have the toms, and we have the kick and the sustained bass. And that's our track. And now we also have vocals, luckily. They just arrived here and still need to mix them a bit, but I'm just going to drag them in. We have 3 layers here at the moment. So we have this one. Nice for Atmo in the background. Let's actually like keep it like this and just play this one along with everything else. That's kind of a reverb tail of these vocals, which is already contributing to your atmosphere. And then we have this other more ad-lib harmonies type thing. And then we have the one that goes into the lead, into the foreground here. Bring this down a bit. And we have a full track. So what are our key elements? Summing up again, hopefully we have vocals. And we have the very, distinct percussive element that's contributing to our melody or to our pluck pattern. We have the piano, very simple, very straightforward. We have the shaker, which is a nice and full one in this case from Organica 3. And we have the toms and bass and the low end things we already discussed. And there are the most important elements. And everything else that we have in this project file here sort of serves for actually having something to totally arrange and also to fill in gaps in our frequency range. And you know, then it's up to taste what you want to have in there. I want to focus on one more element that's, you know, very important for this remake of the style here, and that's this whoop thing. Let's listen to that one. There are probably many ways to put this together. This is one way of doing it, but I also have Serum alternative for the sound, and it's part of the Serum presets in that pack as well. Yeah, it goes like this. And it's basically pitching the sound up and down here with the second envelope. You could take a look at that, and you always sort of have to adjust the decays and the attacks depending on how fast you want this thing to move. But let's take a look at how it's done here in this Ableton only whoop. And so we have analog on this one, on the first one, and this is the transient, sort of, the pitchy transient. You know, with this pitch envelope initial setup here. And we're just playing a sine wave with oscillator 1. And then we combine that with another instance here, and that's a sample. That's then getting some overdrive. And we are also sending that through the return channels, or is it on the group? I need to check quickly. Was it on the group or was it on the return channel? It was on the group. So there's some heavy processing going on in the group. I'm not going to go through this now in detail, because if you want to study this, feel free to check out the project file, and then you can see the processing behind it. But you might even have such a sample. Or you might want to use something different, so I'm not going to go through this too much here. There's just one way of setting this up, and you can see we have this kind of sound, sort of like an elephant noise. And then we have this attacky thing in front of it that's pitchy. And together they're like this. And they have this long reverb tail behind it. And then we combine that with noise. And this one filters up. Maybe you heard that. Let's take a look at the filter setup quickly. Oh, we also have Redux, but I think we also have a filter here. Didn't this? Maybe it's just the envelope. Yeah, it's the attack of the envelope that already does that fill-in thing. Or the moving up the frequency. And then it stops. And we have another voice type, noise type element. So in all these three combined, if you listen to something like this in solo without the context of the track, you might be wondering, it's like, really, is that a great idea to put this into my song? But then you put it in context. Yeah, and it kind of works, and it's also a bit crazy, but yeah, I like it. It's cool. It's fun. So I would say these are the most important elements, and everything else is just extra. So we can quickly jump through some of these groups and see what else we have. But if you get this stuff right here, then you have a track. And then you need to sort of figure out how to arrange it. But we can take a look at the arrangement also by sort of closing these groups a bit and taking a look, hey, what's going on, by the way, in the arrangement. And you see we are starting with these bells basically in the beginning, and also a pad sound, which we haven't looked at, but you know, any pad sound almost will do here. So it's kind of like an organ. And combined with the bell. we just have some fast hi-hats here. 16th notes. Same thing here, nothing crazy. You know, this is not what makes a difference. And then another 16th notes hi-hat here. And then we have this hat loop. Bit more gritty, bit more low frequencies. And then we have a top loop here in the drop part. But you maybe also notice we're not really working with claps. So what is this clap thing doing here? It's not really a clap. It's something like whatever, some kind of noise here. Very short, very, you know, notched out in the clap position. Yes, but this is not really like a full-on clap sound. If we go, this is as much clap as we are granting ourselves here. It's not needed in this style. It's kind of avoided. Keeps it a bit more trippy, a bit less oof-cha, and a bit more dreamy in a way as well. And so what else do we have? If I'm going back to sort of the synths group, we have a combination of pad sounds here just to sort of reverse engineer the pads. What does this one sound like? Just a nice saw wave here with a filter on top. Playing the same notes the piano is playing. And we have this combination between sort of you know, triangle and a saw wave here. Sort of beefing up the lower frequencies, the mid-lows next to the piano. Just adding some depth to the track. Then we have a bunch of effects, but basically it's white noise. A sample in this case, it's some ambience. That's vocal ambience from our Vocals Vol.3 pack. Then we have some crashes, risers. I'm not going to go through all of these. We need some vinyl tonal ambience. Because it's kind of mixed in here to fill out the frequencies as well. And then if we skip over to the vocals group, we have this ah thing here in our break, adding in feeling. So we can take a look at this. Context. When we're filtering down everything, we're winding down everything, and then this creating some atmosphere on top, and then this LFO pad thing comes in the break part. So it's basically LFO1 here, this one, 8th notes controlling the frequency of the filter in the matrix. 42% applied. Yeah, here's this other vocal chomp. It's from the Vocals PML Vocals Pack Vol.3. Can be found in, we just released that this year, here in the editions of 2024 in the Everything bundle, or you can also pick it up as a single item, or you know, take a look at other stuff on productionmusiclive.com, more Afro House related ones. And we have another vocal here, sent through overdrive and erosion. Let's listen to the context of that one. Yeah, and I would say these are our key elements. I'm going to wrap it up here at this point, because if we would go through all the elements, we would take forever to do so. And I think we've already covered what's really important in the style. And if you want to study everything else, all the stuff that we use to fill it up and make it more glitzy and shiny, you can take a look at the project file and check that out. It's going to be here in the templates. It's going to be called Deeper Love once it's finished. By the time this video is out, I'm going to have a full playback of the entire track, just quickly summing up the key takeaways. So we have a quite powerful but rather short kick here. We have a sustained bass on top of that with some, overdriven erosion mid frequencies and keeping it clean in the low end. And picking up sidechained information from the toms group that's playing alongside, adding in the low tom groove. And then super important, our bell sounds. One percussive element that adds to the melodic overall theme. Also has some crazy processing here. Check it out if you're interested. This one is set to, with a resonator set to B, which is the key of this track. And then adjusted to taste and sort of to fit the remake character here. And what else do we have? Now we need shakers. And we need some trippy vocals. Beautiful. And a piano, natural grand piano. And some Savannah-type thing here, some group sounds. Yeah, so this is the good stuff. We also have more elements here in the sample pack, like bongo loop. All kinds of one-shots and stuff. And also we have this other track in here. And so on. And we also, if you're interested in more Afro House things, we have this Afro House style pack here from a while back. We are also putting that in as well here in the description with 3 more Ableton only project files. So a lot of stuff to choose from. I'm putting links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and comment below what you want to see next. And now we are going to have a full playthrough through the track.